Okay, so today's subject is how important diet is in calisthenics. And I could take a lot of athletes example that we can see on the internet. Mostly French athletes, they dare showing what they eat in their vlogs and all this stuff. But I won't, because I don't need to. I can use my own example. This is me at 13 years old when I just began, and I just wanted to show you my physique evolution that necessarily goes with my performances evolution. And as you can see, like throughout the years, I could evolve pretty much pretty consistently by the end of 4 years with the school meals, white people's food diet, what moms gives me basically. I could get from this to this, which is kind of surprising when we think about how I was eating, and it leads us to the following question: how can I get this kind of result while eating this badly, like this poorly? And so it leads us to how does diet work? And we are falling on this pyramid, the nutrition pyramid, done by Eric Helms, which is a pioneer, really well-known figure in musculation. He has done like the major work that is still valuable today. And so this is what we'll base our development thesis on. And in order to understand this pyramid, I want to help you understand the pyramid concept understanding in itself, not the content. I don't want to explain you yet how nutrition basically works. I want you to understand what really is important to look at and how to understand this pyramid nutrition. You have to see each stage of this pyramid, like the energy balance, the stage 1, macronutrients, stage 2, etc., as a foundation for the stage on top. I hope that's clear enough, and this is why I took these images. Like you can see that before doing some buildings here, you have to have a foundation, and you cannot build all this wood like walls, etc., without having a clear foundation. If you don't have a floor, you cannot build anything on top of it. Well, it's about the same here. You cannot, or at least it won't be efficient to build something here if the preceding stage, the stage on the bottom, is not according to your goals. It's not like going on plan. And yeah, this is what I really wanted you to understand. This nutrition pyramid resumes basically by order of importance, and more than importance, priority, what has to be looked at. You have energy balance, macronutrients, micronutrients, nutrient timing, and then in the end, if you've done everything at the bottom, so you have the right energy balance, the right macronutrients, right micronutrients, right nutrients timing, then you can supplement, and it will be useful. The clearer instance for this is, for instance, your mom, or just 40 years old people that you have in your social group. They want to lose weight, and they eat a ton of supplements like pills to cut weight, or I don't know which kind of shit. But they can't, because their energy balance is just not according to this goal. This is what this nutrition pyramid is saying. And now that we know this, I want to look at the diet approach that athletes, and I, if I consider myself as an athlete, could have. We have basically two dynamics we want to look at when it comes to diet and weight and performances. I want to gain muscle, or I want to lose weight. These are the two things that are really interesting to look at when we perform in calisthenics. Muscles, which is what we can potentialize on in order to be stronger, And losing weight is basically feeling lighter, and so expressing more strength to some extent. It's not as exact as this, but you got my point. And so we have two options: eating more or eating less. And it works. When we look at the nutrition pyramid, this philosophy of I want to gain muscle, I just want to eat more, and I want to lose weight, I just have to eat less, is working. Why? Because the energy balance is what will determine your body weight, your dynamic of body weight. If you eat more than you need, you will gain weight. If you eat less, you will lose weight. When you gain weight, you gain either muscle or fat. It can indeed depend of how much protein, fat, and carbs you eat, but it mostly depends of what kind of message you send to your body. If you train hard and create you destruct your muscle fibers, you will send as a message to your body, I need to build more fibers. And even if you have this kind of shitty diet with bare minimum of protein, even less than a gram of protein per kilogram of body weight, your body will just manage to get things to work out. And as you are in surplus, you won't lose much muscles. You're just maintaining and gaining bit by bit. And this is what I've done throughout the years, basically. Even with this kind of poor diet, going from this to this. I don't know how many kilograms I've gained, but it was just a bit gradual. Maybe I had a little bulk within this year. I don't really remember, but the point is here. And when I wanted to cut, to be more shred, I decided to eat less. And even if I had not enough protein, I was losing muscles, but I was mostly losing fats. And this is the point. This is how basically calisthenics athletes are eating basically shit and following the eating enough diet and getting to where they are. And so this kind of answers to the question, why do people in calisthenics eat bad, and how important diet is in calisthenics. But it doesn't concretely answer, why do calisthenics athletes decide to eat shit? Some people eat fast food every day, and this is their way of life. They're living their best life, just eating this way and performing, and yeah. It all comes to a principle that is even more foundational than the energy balance, macronutrients, and all this stuff. It's behavior and lifestyle, adherence. I'll try to explain it through instances. Example. The adherence is, you can ask yourself, does it fit my life? Like my diet, the way I eat, does it fit my life? There is no S. Does it fit my life? Do you like what you eat? Are you satisfied with your diet system? In case this is not clear enough, I have a concrete instance of how most of calisthenics athletes would deal with diets. So, for the second time, the athlete's diet approach. What we think about, first and foremost, we want to feel light and have energy for trainings. This is what matters the most when it comes to food and calisthenics. It's not about how much muscle, how much fat, all this stuff. This is a data that we look at for this given result. Do I feel light? This is what matters the most. Maybe you can feel lighter when you have a bit more fats because you have a bit more energy. It's kind of trade-offs. Then we can think of, I want to grow muscles. You may think that this is what's stopping you to progress, or I don't know. And so you have the eating enough diet. You just eat more. But eventually one day you learn about optimization with diet. You can count your macronutrients, you can track all your calories intake and all this stuff, and you can really in a concrete way move toward shredding, and you can even do steps and all this stuff. And so you start doing all this. you change all your habits. You start tracking, dieting, and yeah. And you have two options. The first one, the adherence is good. It fits your life. It's not taking too much space in your head, and it just works pretty great. And you see your performances just going on plan, and your habits are good also. So in the end, you improve your diet, you optimize your muscle growth, and maybe even your overall energy. This is the best case scenario. But the second case is that your adherence is bad. It's too complicated. It changes way too many habits in your life, and it just too much. And more than this, there is this concept of mental load. The mental load is all the energy, mental energy that you put toward diet. And when you come to this situation in which you invest time, energy, maybe money even in diet, and you also start tracking calories, so you also think about how many calories you should eat before this kind of training, or you just overthink. This is called mental load. In the end, you just prefer, you'd rather come back on the previous diets, because it all comes to this principle of adherence. What it says is that no matter how good your diets can be, even if you have the perfect, really, if you have the perfect energy balance, the perfect macronutrients, micronutrients, all this stuff, if everything on top is perfect, you have like the perfect nutrition to get to your goal, which is no matter what it is, like whether it's bulking, cutting, maintaining, even if it's perfect, if you don't like it, if you don't like eating this kind of food, if it's just annoying to you to eat at certain timings and all this stuff, and it just creates friction and this mental load, you won't stick to it, and in the end you will drop the whole thing out, even maybe develop eating disorder. What matters the most about the whole thing is adherence. And so this is my take. This is why I think most calisthenics athletes just met this situation in which they were trying to optimize, and they just encountered way too little complicated stuff that were just draining the mind and the spirit for nothing. They just decided that the previous plan was pretty good. They were feeling light, because this is the first and foremost, like the first condition. I want to feel light and good for trainings. They had this. They decided to come back on this. Simply. This is my conclusion. Diet is a domain of its own, and the harder you try, the more knowledgeable you have to be. I'll repeat it. The harder you try, the more knowledgeable you have to be. And so we can conclude that, the eating enough diet will provide most results for most calisthenics athletes, and it will fit their life, because they would have decided what kind of food they like, all this stuff. And what really matters mostly will be their energy balance and a bit of the macronutrients. That's basically it. The second take that is coming from the harder you try, the more knowledgeable you have to be, is that optimizing requires knowledge, investing time and energy. This is something that comes throughout time. Even if you have as training, even if you have every knowledge is that you need to get to your goals, there are high chances you don't manage to succeed, because there is a difference between knowledge and the applying of the knowledge. And this is next video subject. I'll provide you all my experiences when it comes to diet, for how to use diet to your advantage in calisthenics. It was quite short, not that much. I hope that you enjoyed the whole thing. I have one last thing to talk about, is that I give free calls in description My goal is to meet you, to understand what kind of people is just watching my content. And if by this way I can also help you, it's worth for both of us, I guess. So don't hesitate to go in the link below. Thank you for watching and hope to see you soon, and bye.